I believe, and there is data to support, that focusing on joy can also influence prevention, not getting an illness. And I'm getting this information, extrapolating it from the highest end of the spectrum of lack of joy, trauma and depression. I'm going to be using joy as the shortcut for taking care of mental health, managing anxiety, depression, taking care of trauma, managing emotions. It's not only cancer, it's cardiovascular disease, Alzheimer's, diabetes. Welcome to Body, Mind, and Spirit. I'm your host, Dr. Dieli Pichardo Johansson, retired board-certified hematologist-oncologist and twice cancer survivor. My intention for this show is to bridge the gap between medical science and spirit, reconcile conventional medicine and holistic wellness, and to normalize the conversation about the spiritual dimensions of health. All of us who have a loved one who has been in treatment, or all of us who are taking care of our own health, we should know that little things that promote joy, mental health, that promote a positive mood are likely to influence our care beyond what doctors are speaking about. In future episodes, we're going to take this even deeper. I am not only saying that focusing on joy can improve your symptoms, quality of life, potentially respond to treatment. I believe, and there is data to support, that can also influence your possibility to cure an illness and prevention, not getting an illness. It's not only cancer, it's those diseases that are most likely to attack us in old age, cardiovascular disease, Alzheimer's, diabetes. And I'm getting this information from two big sources of literature, extrapolating it from the highest end of the spectrum of lack of joy, which are trauma and depression. Before we begin, please take a moment to subscribe. Help us spread the mission of this channel, which is not only education, but also awareness. When you share this video, when you like it, when you comment, you are helping us change the conversation and shift the consensus reality in the world. Thank you. It means a lot to me. Now, back to the show. Trauma and depression. I know that this is the extreme, but when we talk about the mechanisms, how stress impacts our physiology, affects our mitochondria, damages our cellular functions, I want you to start seeing this as a spectrum. The data in the most horrible cases of stress, that is trauma and depression, is the extreme in a spectrum that all of us can benefit from addressing. All of us have some degree of small t trauma. All of us have some degree of negative emotions in our lives. Trauma, we're going to be talking a lot about that. There's a famous study I'm going to quote several times, the Adverse Childhood Event Study, that started with over 9,000 patients, most recently had already about 17,000. And in summary, people who had 4 or more traumatic childhood events, and we're talking about trauma with capital T. These patients had double and more than double the chance of stroke, cancer, and heart disease, and almost double, 1.6 times, the risk of diabetes. And if you're seeing the video version of this podcast, I'm showing on the screen a very busy slide with a table with just an example of the abundance of literature. 7 clinical trials published in prestigious journals like the British Medical Journal and JAMA Psychiatry, showing how depression increases the risk of developing and dying from diseases such as cardiovascular disease, myocardial infarction, stroke, diabetes, Alzheimer's, dementia, among others. Let's not focus attention on what we don't want. Let's focus it in what we want, the solution, not the problem. I'm going to be using joy as the shortcut for taking care of mental health, managing anxiety, depression, taking care of trauma, managing emotions. All that, I'm going to summarize it by saying joy. In bottom line, I am not making this up. There is plenty of data out there. And the only reason why we don't see everybody talking about this is because nobody can patent and pack joy and sell it. They can make us believe they are packing and selling joy in so many products that the people sell us, but we all know that is not true. And that leads us to our takeaways. First, there is an undeniable bidirectional connection between the patient's emotional state and their outcomes. Not only symptoms control and quality of life, but potentially also response to treatment. Second, even if we could never prove that, even if we could never prove that feeling good can help you heal, feeling good matters, period. Quality of life is at least as important as quantity of life. End of discussion. So, bringing joy to the care is a priority because it improves the quality of life. And third, and here's what I want you to take with you, the single best health measure you can take as a patient, as a healthcare provider, as a caregiver, or all of us who are taking care of our own health is to focus most of your energy and efforts in cultivating joy. Best case scenario, it will help you heal. Worst case scenario, and that's a very good worst case scenario, it will improve the way you feel, your quality of life. And that includes both sides of joy, peace of mind and expansion. We'll talk more about that in future episodes. In the next section, we'll be talking about some myth busters, what mind, body, spirit medicine is and is not. And that implies taking some time to give you a brief history of medicine and mind, body medicine. The following session, we'll be talking about mind, body medicine foundations. What are the things now validated by science that explain how our emotions and experiences translate into cellular functioning? And that's going to include stress, the adrenergic response, cortisol, the mitochondria, inflammation, and all those fascinating topics. Well, that's all for today. Remember, some truths are invisible and impossible to measure, yet undeniably real. Love is the best example. Stay open-minded, make joy part of your wellness plan, and here's the takeaway. The best thing you can do for your health is to love your life. See you next time.